Hi there, and welcome to A Song of Ice and Fire Explained. This is a video series where we explain the massive conspiracies going on in A Song of Ice and Fire. If you haven't seen our previous videos, we suggest watching those first. So, let's continue on with Bran 3, A Game of Thrones. This chapter is 1,708 words long, and is told from the perspective of Bran Stark, who was 8 years old at the start of A Song of Ice and Fire. In this chapter, while in his coma, Bran dreams of falling, and of a crow teaching him to fly. He sees the bodies of 1,000 dreamers before flying. Then he wakes to find himself crippled, and decides to name his direwolf Summer. Bran is dreaming of falling. It seems that he has been falling for years, but I never fall, he remembers as he falls. As the ground gets closer, Bran believes that he will wake up in the instant before he hits the ground, like he always has before. And if you don't? Asks the voice. A crow is with him, telling him to fly. Bran insists that he does not know how to fly. The crow asks him if he has ever tried. Bran then asks the crow if he is really a crow, and the crow asks Bran if he is really falling. Bran begins to cry, but the crow insists the answer is flying, not crying, and that flying is easy. When Bran mentions that the crow has wings, the crow says maybe Bran does too. When Bran searches himself for wings, the crow tells him there are different kinds of wings. Bran asks the crow what he is doing, and the crow responds that he is teaching Bran to fly. When Bran looks down again, he can see the whole realm and everything in it. In Winterfell, he sees the inhabitants going about their work, and sees the heart tree in the Godswood looking back at him. Bran sees his mother contemplating a blood-stained knife aboard a ship sailing on the Bight, and his father pleading with the king near the Trident. He sees Sansa crying herself to sleep, and Arya holding her secrets in her heart. All around his family, Bran sees shadows. One as dark as ash, with the terrible face of a hound, and another in armor as golden and beautiful as the sun. Over them all looms a giant armored in stone, but with only darkness and black blood behind its visor. In the far east, Bran sees dragons stirring in the fabled Shadowlands. Bran turns north to the wall, where he sees Jon sleeping alone and growing cold and hard. Then Bran looks beyond the wall, and beyond the curtain of light, at the edge of the world, into what he calls the heart of winter. What he sees there makes him cry. The crow tells Bran that now he knows why he must live, because winter is coming. Bran realizes that the crow has a third eye, full of terrible knowledge. Bran can see spires of ice rising up to impale him, and the bodies of 1,000 dreamers before him. The three-eyed crow tells Bran that he must choose, fly or die. Bran spreads his arms and flies. The crow reacts by pecking at Bran's face between his eyes, blinding him. Suddenly, the crow dissolves into a serving woman with long black hair. Bran realizes he is in Winterfell. The serving woman drops her basin and runs down the steps shouting, "He is awake!" Bran touches the burning space between his eyes, where he was pecked, but cannot feel a thing. Bran's direwolf jumps up onto his legs, but Bran cannot feel it. When his brother Robb arrives, Bran looks up calmly and says, his name is Summer. And this is where Bran 3, A Game of Thrones, ends. Now, as we've said before, we don't think the three-eyed crow is Bloodraven, and is instead the most dangerous greenseer in Westeros. For example, the three-eyed crow seems to make Bran forget that Jaime Lannister pushed him from the broken tower. A face swam up at him out of the grey mist, shining with light, golden. "The things I do for love," it said. Bran screamed. The crow took to the air, cawing. "Not that," it shrieked at him. "Forget that. You do not need it now. Put it aside. Put it away." It landed on Bran's shoulder and pecked at him, and the shining golden face was gone. We say partially forgot because in Bran 4, A Clash of Kings, this exchange happens between Jojen and Bran. "It was only a bad dream," Jojen stood. "I felt you. I felt you fall. Is that what scares you? The falling?" "The falling," Bran thought. "And the golden man, the queen's brother, he scares me too. But mostly the falling." He did not say it though. How could he? He had not been able to tell Sir Roderick or Maester Luwin. And he could not tell the Reeds either. If he didn't talk about it, maybe he would forget. He had never wanted to remember. It might not even be a true remembering. Do you fall every night, Bran? Jojen asked quietly. So the three-eyed crow wanted Bran to fall, to awaken his third eye by forcing him to fly. But the three-eyed crow didn't want to spark war between the Lannisters and Starks. Not yet. Not until Theon could seize Winterfell and skin the Miller's boys, allowing Bran, Jojen, Mira, and Hodor to escape north of the Wall. Also, during Bran's dreams, he sees they flew up at him like spears. He saw the bones of 1,000 other dreamers impaled upon their points. Which makes you wonder if Euron saw the same thing when he was younger, or did he fail to fly and become a failed dreamer? Moreover, the three-eyed crow has an attitude, or personality, that doesn't gel with Bloodraven. A crow was spiraling down with him, just out of reach, following him as he fell. "Help me," he said. "I'm trying," the crow replied. "Say, got any corn?" Or later, when the crow says, "That won't do any good," the crow said. "I told you, the answer is flying, not crying. How hard can it be? I'm doing it." We can't really imagine the stoic, wizened, solemn Bloodraven saying this stuff to Bran, when you compare it to the stuff he says to Bran in the cave. "I saw your birth, and that of your lord father before you. I saw your first step, heard your first word, was part of your first dream. I was watching when you fell, and now you are come to me at last." They sound like two different people. Also, why doesn't Bloodraven mention that he was the one talking to Bran in his dreams? Anyway, that's about it for Bran 3, A Game of Thrones. In the next video, we'll cover Catelyn 4 and continue from there. In the meantime, here is the biggest difference between the TV show and book. In the show, there is no mention of Bran dreaming about the three-eyed crow at all, and instead wakes up after Lady is killed. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you want to see more of A Song of Ice and Fire Explained, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, when you get the chance, try out Fantasy Flight's A Game of Thrones board game, digital edition.